He woke up before the alarm again, not because he was disciplined, but because his mind never gave him rest. The room was quiet, but his chest felt heavy, as if something was sitting on it. He stared at the ceiling for a few seconds, hoping the feeling would pass, but it didn't. It never did. The alarm rang. He didn't move. He already knew what kind of day it was going to be. He reached for his phone. That small glowing screen had become his shield. One swipe, and the noise returned. Bidious posts, random thoughts from strangers. It was easier to live inside other people's lives than to face his own. He told himself the same sentence he had been repeating for years. I just hate hard work. It sounded convincing, but somewhere deep inside, a quieter voice whispered, that's not the truth. He finally got out of bed, slowly, as if moving too fast would force him to think. He looked at the mirror for half a second, then turned away. He didn't like what mirrors did. They asked questions without speaking. They reminded him of the person he was, becoming someone tired without doing much, someone busy without progress, someone full of plans and empty of action. His days followed a pattern he never chose, but somehow accepted. Wake up late, rush through the morning without direction, promise himself he would start today. Feel motivated for a moment, then slowly slide back into comfort. Scrolling, felt harmless. Barrage disappeared, not loudly, but quietly. And when evening came, there was always regret, but regret without change. He had dreams once, real ones, not the fake kind people talk about, but the kind that kept him awake at night. He wanted to become someone he could respect, someone disciplined, someone strong from the inside. But dreams are dangerous when you don't act on them. They don't die, they rot, and that rot turns into self-hate. He avoided hard tasks, not because they were impossible, but because they demanded something from him. They demanded focus, they demanded effort, but more than that, they demanded honesty. Hard work forces you to admit where you stand, and he didn't like his position. He didn't like the gap between who it was and who he could be. That gap felt like an accusation. Whenever someone talked about discipline or consistency, he felt uncomfortable, not because he disagreed, but because it felt personal. It felt like someone pointing directly at his weaknesses. He laughed it off. He said things like, life isn't that serious, or I work better under pressure. But deep inside, he knew those were shields, not truths. He wasn't lazy in the way people imagine. Lazy. People don't care. He cared too much. He cared so much that he was afraid to try seriously, because if he tried with everything he had and still failed, what excuse would remain? Avoidance felt safer than effort. Effort meant exposure. Time passed quietly. No dramatic failures, no dramatic failures, just small losses. Every day he didn't do what he promised himself. He lost a little trust in himself, and self-trust is fragile. Once it cracks, every decision feels heavier. Every task feels harder, not because it is, but because you no longer believe in yourself. There were moments when he almost started a book, opened but not read, a notebook filled with one page and then closed, a gym membership used for a week. Every time, he stopped right before momentum could build, and every time, he told himself he would restart later. Later became his favorite word. At night, when the world slowed down, the thoughts came back stronger. He replayed conversations. He replayed missed chances. He imagined a future where nothing changed. That image scared him, but fear alone was not enough to move him. Fear without action turns into numbness, and numbness is dangerous because it feels like peace. One evening, the electricity went out. No lights, no Wi-Fi, no phone battery. He sat in his room, annoyed at first, then restless, then silent. The silence was different this time. There was no escape. He tried to sleep, but his mind refused. He sat on the edge of the bed, head in his hands, breathing slowly. That's when the truth surfaced. Not loud, not dramatic, just clear. He didn't hate hard work. He hated what came before it. The moment of facing himself. The moment of admitting, I've been avoiding my own potential. Hard work wasn't painful. The pain was self-awareness. Hard work shows you your limits, and limits are uncomfortable, but they are honest. He realized that every time he avoided effort, he wasn't protecting his energy, he was protecting his ego. He was afraid of discovering who he really was without excuses. That night, he didn't feel motivated, he felt exposed. But exposure was better than illusion. For the first time in a long while, he sat with his thoughts, instead of running from them. He didn't judge himself. He didn't make big promises. He just acknowledged the truth. I'd been hiding. The next morning was ordinary. No dramatic sunrise, no sudden confidence, but something was different. He didn't reach for his phone immediately. He sat up, made his bed slowly, not perfectly, just intentionally. That small action felt strange, but grounding. He decided to stop waiting for motivation. He decided to stop trying to change everything at once. He chose one small, uncomfortable thing, and did it. That's it. No reward, no announcement, just action. The discomfort didn't disappear, but something else appeared. Respect. Not because he achieved something big, but because he faced something small instead of avoiding it. Days passed. He kept choosing. Discomfort in small doses. Writing even when he didn't feel inspired. Staying focused, even when bored. Sitting in silence without escaping. These moments didn't feel heroic, but they felt real. And slowly, his mind began to change. He learned something important. Discipline is not force, it's honesty. It's showing up even when no one is watching. It's choosing truth over comfort, and truth always feels heavy at first. Hard work stopped feeling like punishment. It became a mirror, and the mirror stopped being scary, because now he was doing something worth seeing. He understood that the reason effort felt painful before was because it exposed his avoidance. But once avoidance left, effort became simple. Not easy, but clean. And maybe that's where you are, right? Now, maybe you don't hate effort. Maybe you hate the quiet moment when excuses fall apart. Maybe you hate the mirror that asks, are you living honestly? You don't hate hard work. You hate facing yourself. But once you do, once you stop running, there is a calm strength waiting for you. Not loud, not flashy, just solid. And that strength will change everything. If this story touched you, like, share, and subscribe for more stories that speak to the mind and the soul.